like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it. Woo. Walk it like I talk it.
In the early hours of November 1st, 2022, a single gunshot shattered more than just the silence of a Houston night. It fractured a brotherhood. It ended a movement. It closed a chapter in hip-hop history that can never be rewritten. Migos. 5 letters. 3 voices. One sound that changed everything. Quavo. Offset. Takeoff. Not just a rap group, but family. Bound by blood. Raised in the same houses. Dreaming the same dreams in the trap-scarred streets of North Atlanta. They didn't just make music. They created a language. The triplet flow. The ad-libs. The culture. From Gwinnett County to every corner of the globe. Their sound became the heartbeat of a generation. But behind the platinum plaques and sold-out arenas, there was tension, distance, fractures in a foundation built on loyalty. This is the story of how 3 young men from nothing became everything, and how in one devastating moment, it all came crashing down. This is a story of dreams realized, bonds tested, and a legacy that death itself couldn't erase. To understand the end, we must first go back to the beginning, back to the streets that raised them. Lawrenceville, Georgia, a suburb northeast of Atlanta, sitting in Gwinnett County. To outsiders, it looked like any other town. But for Quavo, Offset, and Takeoff, it was everything. Quavius Kiate Marshall, Kiari Kendall Cephas, Kirshnik Curry Ball. Quavo and Takeoff were nephew and uncle, though you'd never know it by looking at them. Born just a few years apart, raised in the same household by Takeoff's mother, Edna. She was the matriarch, the one who held everything together when times got tough. Offset was their cousin, growing up just streets away. Different household, same struggle, same dreams. The 3 were inseparable from childhood, playing basketball in driveways, freestyling over beats played from cheap speakers, imagining a life beyond what they could see. They weren't born into privilege. Money was tight. Opportunities were few. The streets had a way of claiming young men in North Atlanta, pulling them into cycles that seemed impossible to break. But they had something else. They had each other. And they had music. Growing up, they idolized the Atlanta legends. Outkast, T.I. Gucci Mane. The city had a sound, a swagger. Migos wanted to be part of that legacy. But they also wanted to create something new. Something entirely theirs. In 2008, while still teenagers, they formed Migos. The name? A play on amigos, Spanish for friends. But they were more than friends. They were brothers in every sense that mattered. The early days were a grind. Recording in makeshift studios. Burning CDs by the hundreds. Passing them out at gas stations, malls, anywhere someone would listen. No label. No connections. Just raw hunger and a sound nobody had quite heard before. They dropped mixtapes. Jug Season in 2011. No label in 2012. Slowly, the buzz began to build. Local DJs started playing their tracks. Clubs in Atlanta started booking them. While other Atlanta artists were making it big, Migos stayed in the shadows. Grinding, perfecting their craft, building a following one show at a time, waiting for their moment. They practiced that flow, that triplet pattern, 3 syllables per beat. Synchronized, overlapping. It was hypnotic, addictive, and it would change everything. That moment was coming sooner than anyone could imagine. 2013, a year that would change everything. Versace. 1 word, 1 song, 1 viral moment that exploded across the internet like wildfire. The track was hypnotic, repetitive, unlike anything on mainstream radio. Versace, 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 Versace. It shouldn't have worked. Radio programmers thought it was too repetitive. But audiences? They couldn't get enough. The song became an anthem. A meme before memes dominated culture. People posted videos, made parodies. The word Versace itself became a cultural moment. The triplet flow, 3 syllables per beat. Rapid-fire delivery that forced you to lean in, to rewind, and play it again. It wasn't just their style, it became the style. Artists across the industry started copying it, adapting it, making it their own. Future did it. Travis Scott did it. Even pop artists started incorporating it. The flow that Migos had perfected in Atlanta basements was now shaping mainstream music. But Migos had originated it, and the world was starting to notice. Then came the cosign that sealed their fate. Drake, the one of the biggest rapper on the planet. He heard Versace. He loved it, and he hopped on the remix. When Drake's version dropped, it was over. The song went from Atlanta phenomenon to global hit overnight. Suddenly, Migos wasn't just an underground act. They were legitimate stars. Record labels came calling. 300 Entertainment signed them. The machine was in motion. Hannah Montana, Fight Night, Pipe It Up, hit after hit. Their debut album, Young Rich Nation, dropped in 2015. The momentum was undeniable, but there were obstacles. Legal troubles. Offset faced jail time. The group's momentum seemed threatened, but they persevered. When Offset was released, they came back stronger. Still, commercial success on the highest level eluded them. They had hits. They had buzz. But they needed something more. Something undeniable. They needed a phenomenon. October 2016. Raindrop. Drop top. 3 words that became a global movement. Bad and Boujee wasn't just a song. It was a cultural earthquake. Everything about it was perfect. The production by Metro. Memes flooded the internet. Celebrities posted videos. Athletes danced to it. The track climbed the charts week after week until finally, January 2017. Bad and Boujee hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Migos had reached the summit. 3 kids from Lawrenceville were now standing at the top of the music world. Their second album, Culture, dropped that same month. It was a masterpiece. Track after track of hits. T-shirt, Slippery, Call Casting. This wasn't just rap music. This was the sound of a generation. Critics praised it. Fans devoured it. The album debuted at #1. Migos wasn't just a hot act anymore. They were superstars. Grammy nominations followed. Album of the Year. Best Rap Album. Sold out world tours. Features with everyone from Cardi B to DJ Khaled to Justin Bieber. Migos had transcended hip-hop. Each member developed their own identity. Quavo became the charismatic frontman. Offset was the technician with the most intricate flows. And Takeoff? Takeoff was the purist. The one who cared most about the craft. Together, they were unstoppable. Culture 2, in 2018 debuted at #1. 24 tracks. Over 2 hours of music. It was excessive, ambitious, unapologetic. Stir fry. Walk it talk it. Motorsport. The fashion world embraced them. Versace, Gucci, high fashion brands put Migos on runways. The sports world. Athletes celebrated with Migos dances. Hollywood. They appeared everywhere. Quavo, Offset, and Takeoff became household names. They had everything they'd ever dreamed of. Money, fame, respect. From Lawrenceville to the world. From nothing to everything. But somewhere between the awards and the accolades, the brotherhood that built Migos was beginning to crack. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Migos' journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more untold hip-hop stories. 2019. On the surface, everything looked perfect. But beneath the fame, something was wrong. Offset and Cardi B's relationship dominated headlines. Their public breakups and reconciliations became tabloid fodder. Takeoff and Quavo remained closer than ever. But the dynamic was shifting. There were whispers, rumors of disagreements, business disputes, creative differences. Who should get more solo opportunities? How should the money be split? In interviews, you could see it. The body language, the subtle tension. They still said the right things. We're brothers. Migos forever. But something felt different. Solo projects emerged. Quavo released Quavo Huncho in 2018. Offset dropped Father of 4 in 2019. Individual ambitions were growing. But the real fracture came quietly. No dramatic announcement. Just distance. Then, in 2021, the unthinkable happened. Offset stopped showing up. No official announcement. He was just gone. Quavo and Takeoff moved forward as a duo. They called themselves UNC and Few. They released Only Built for Infinity Links in October 2022. The chemistry was undeniable, but something felt incomplete. In interviews, they were diplomatic. That's our brother. We'll always be family. The message was clear. Migos, as a trio, was on indefinite hiatus. Fans wondered, would Migos ever be the same? Would the trio reunite? Everyone believed there was still time. Time to heal. Time to reconcile. They would never get the chance to find out. November 1st, 2022. Houston, Texas. Takeoff was at a private party. A bowling alley called 810 Billiards and Bowling. He was there with Quavo, 28 years old, at the height of his artistry. The night should have been normal. But around 2:30 a.m., an argument broke out. Not involving Takeoff. Not involving Quavo. Just an argument over a dice game. Something meaningless. But this time, someone had a gun. Takeoff wasn't involved in the argument. He was an innocent bystander. When the shots rang out, he was struck. Then, silence. Kirshnik Curry Ball. Takeoff. The quietest member of Migos. The most humble. The one who avoided drama. The one who just wanted to make great music. Gone. Just like that. Paramedics arrived. They tried, but it was too late. Takeoff was pronounced dead at the scene. 28 years old. A life cut short over nothing. The news spread like wildfire. The entire music industry went into shock. Disbelief. Anger. Heartbreak. How could this happen? Quavo was there. He witnessed it. In videos from the scene, you can see him desperate, trying to help. He held his nephew in those final moments. The bond they shared since childhood severed in an instant. The investigation began. Patrick Xavier Clark was arrested and charged with murder. But no verdict will bring Takeoff back. The funeral was held at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Thousands attended. Drake spoke. Justin Bieber performed. The city mourned one of its own. Offset was there, devastated. But no words could capture the loss. No eulogy could bring him back. Takeoff was the glue. The one who stayed out of the drama. The one who kept the focus on the music. And in one senseless act of violence, he was taken. The hip-hop community was shaken. Artists spoke about the need for peace. But words feel hollow when another talent is gone. In the wake of tragedy, the world watched, wondering how Quavo and Offset would move forward, wondering if they even could. Quavo released Without You, a raw, emotional tribute to his nephew. The pain in his voice was undeniable. Every line was a memory. This wasn't just a song. It was grief put to music. I wish I had a time machine, just to talk, tell you everything's gonna be fine. The lyrics weren't clever punchlines. They were real, vulnerable, human. Offset, too, was devastated. Despite the distance that had grown between them, the love remained. He posted tributes. The world saw a man broken by grief. At the 2023 Grammys, they performed together. Quavo and Offset reunited on stage for the first time since Takeoff's death. A tribute performance. It was bittersweet, beautiful, painful. The performance ended. The camera showed both of them, tears in their eyes, looking up. A moment of silence. A moment of goodbye. Migos, as the world knew it, was over. There would be no reunion tour, no comeback. The trio that had dominated hip-hop was now just a memory. But their legacy? That will live forever. They changed hip-hop fundamentally. The triplet flow became a foundational element of modern rap. You hear it everywhere now. In trap music, in pop, in R&B. Beyond the music, they represented something important. They showed you don't have to abandon your roots to achieve success. They stayed true to Atlanta. Even at the height of their fame, they were still the same three kids who used to record in basements. Migos wasn't just a group. It was a brotherhood, a movement, a perfect storm of talent, timing, and chemistry that can never be recreated. The industry has moved on, as it always does. New artists rise. New sounds dominate. But those who witnessed Migos at their peak will never forget the energy, the creativity, the pure joy they brought. Takeoff once said, "I just want people to remember the music. Everything else is extra." And that's exactly what we'll do. We'll remember Versace. We'll remember Bad and Boujee. We'll remember every moment that made us feel alive. We'll remember three young men who dared to dream, who worked harder than anyone thought possible, who changed the game forever. Quavo, Offset, Takeoff.